Like and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Empire State Sports Show. I'm your main host, State Scott II, joined by always Tommy Rooney, Teddy Caputo, and we have a new person on this panel, D. James Bear. James, what's up, man?
Appreciate you for bringing me along on
Yes, sir.
This epic journey.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. He's more New York than this man.
We got to talk about the New York Liberty landing Natasha Cloud and what is going to happen with the Yankees as far as this season is concerned in Major League Baseball. But first, we got to start off with this story in the NFL with the New York Jets. Now, it happened a couple weeks ago, but it'll be great to talk about. Justin Fields is now the New York Jets starting quarterback. He signed a few years on the team. He's going to be paired with Garrett Wilson. They have that Ohio State connection. It looks like it's going to be their quarterback going forward. We don't know what they're going to do in the draft, but let's just talk about Justin Fields, New York Jets, that relationship. Tommy, you feel strongly about this relationship. Can they make the playoffs with Justin Fields, the Jets?
Yeah, Josh Allen tears his ACL and Drake May ends up being a bust and Tua gets another concussion. They'll make the playoffs. I love Justin. I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti-Justin Fields because I like him a lot. He's a really good person from all accounts as well. However, giving him $40 million, 30 of which are guaranteed, is absurd. For what he's put on tape, like he's not worth $30 million guaranteed. Obviously, contracts are going to continue to go up, inflation cap getting bigger and bigger. So like that's just part of the reality, but he is not worth $30 million guaranteed. And it's unfortunate because I do think that he could have been something special with the Steelers. However, I don't think that the Jets are going to be able to make the playoffs because all the problems that were there last year are still going to be there this year. Obviously, they're going to address some things in the draft. Like they definitely need to take an offensive lineman first round, in my opinion. However, like Aaron Rodgers wasn't the main problem last year. I don't think that Justin Fields is going to be like something that can just change all of the issues that they had defensively, culture-wise. They're bringing in a new head coach again. I think that they are going to not make the playoffs for sure. I don't think that Justin's like a bad quarterback, though. I think that he will probably lead them like 7, 8 wins, maybe. I don't think they'll make the playoffs because unless they draft like the best offensive lineman of all time and somehow their defense fixes itself. And now, like, the jury is out on Aaron Glenn as well. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be a bad head coach. He might be, but it's just a hard place to play when they seem to be cursed and you're starting a new culture again. They lost Devontae as well. So Garrett Wilson is going to have to step up. And like, he wasn't that great last year. You could blame part of that on Aaron, but Aaron had really good stats last year. Like people think that Aaron's washed now because they had a bad record, but he wasn't the problem. Like he had good stats. So maybe he's a little bit of a diva and that created bad vibes in the locker room. Who knows? But Justin Fields isn't going to be able to fix that immediately. And I'm sad that he left. But I understand that if someone's giving you $30 million guaranteed, you kind of have to take that. I doubt the Steelers gave him half that, to be honest. So they won't make playoffs. But I wish you luck.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, yes, he did play good in the grand scheme of things when you look at his numbers on surface level, but the vibes were off with that team, and I think he was a big reason for that. I think the Jets can make the playoffs with Justin Fields. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they can win the playoffs, but it all depends on Justin Fields' progression. Is he ready to take that next step in his career? Is he ready to prove those doubters like Tommy wrong?
I'm not doubting Justin. I think Justin's fine. Justin could like have a great season. They still won't make playoffs. Like if you're not winning that division, first of all, because Buffalo. But then you got to compete against Los Angeles Chargers, Broncos, Dolphins, all these teams to be that 6, 7 wildcard spots, and the Steelers maybe. So like, I just don't think that they're better than any of those teams. And who knows? Like that, maybe even team like the Raiders, like they might turn it around this year. They've got new ownership, and I think the Patriots are going to make some noise next year as well. I think Drake May's going to take that next jump. They're rumored to be signing Stephon Diggs. He visited their facility yesterday. Then they're in position to get Travis Hunter in the draft. Like, depending on how the first 3 picks work out, they're like probably going to get Travis Hunter, who's a generational football player. So I think the Patriots could be in the mix of the wild card as well.
But I think this is how they can make the playoffs. They become like a smash mouth running football team and develop their defense. I mean, they still got good players. You still got Breece Hall, even though he needs to stay healthy. Justin Fields, we know he can do damage with his legs. You have a featured number 1 wide receiver on this team. I mean, it's their form as far as the talent, but they just need that camaraderie. Hopefully Aaron Glenn will bring a different level of leadership with this team. But like if Justin Fields played at his absolute best. And I also think the Jets offensive line is a little bit better than what he had in Chicago.
I mean, yeah.
Well, Chicago, the Bears offensive line now is great, but Justin Fields never had nothing like that. So I think if all those things gel together, I could see him as a wild card team. What you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that their ceiling is wild card. I don't see them winning the AFC East so long as the Buffalo Bills are still around with Josh Allen. As Tommy mentioned, there are teams like the Chargers, the Steelers, the Dolphins. I even see the Bengals making a resurgence this year, getting back into the wild card. The Broncos are still around too. Those are teams they're going to have to fight against to get that wild card spot. So it's going to be very tough for the Jets. One thing I will say about this signing is, 2 years, $40 million and 30 guaranteed. It is a little bit of a gamble, but I think it's a gamble that they're willing to take because they are changing the culture there so much. I mean, Justin Fields picked the Jets over going back to the Steelers, and he's talked about it recently. He said, I want to go to the Jets. I love the fan base there when they rally behind the team, when they win.
Justin Fields media trained perfectly for saying that.
No, but I
love the fans. They're like the worst fan base in the NFL.
Well,
he won $30 million.
No, they're not.
Like, I respect it. I respect. You can't say that.
But
like, I understand you can't be like, I went there for the money. But like, he went there for the money.
No, but he also went because of Aaron Glenn. Like he likes. I mean, he played against Aaron Glenn in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. So and they believe in him. Like whether he's going to perform, I'm not sure. But giving him that money means that they actually believe in him.
Yeah.
And it gets him excited to play in a New York Jets uniform. And they need some excitement because when they brought Aaron Rodgers in, they thought they'd be 12-5 and making the playoffs. They were 5-12 and they missed the playoffs, right? I think this will help the Jets establish themselves more as a running team, where a couple years ago, that's where their identity was running the football. Last year, they struggled to run the football. And they have two really good backs in the backfield with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, who they got to utilize more. And Justin Fields is a running quarterback. I think that the Jets, honestly, are going to be a running football team. They will use Garrett Wilson, of course, but I think they do need to put more weapons around him to throw the ball to. Otherwise, I mean, and boost off the offensive line like we talked about, but the defense. Like the Jets, they were great on defense a couple years ago, but their defense sucked last year. It was really bad. And so that's their biggest thing they need to address this offseason if they want any chance at a postseason play. And that's regardless of how Justin Fields plays.
All right, James, where do you swing your vote as far as the Jets with Justin Fields? Are they a playoff team or are they still a work in progress?
I'm going to say absolutely not. They're not a playoff team. Overall, I think Justin Fields is a great quarterback. I think he has been playing for the wrong teams. I had faith in him in his second year with Chicago. I thought he was going to do a little bit better when he was with the Steelers, but going to the Jets, it's another, in my opinion, poverty franchise. So they're going to have to do a lot of rebuilding. Like last season, they cycled through 3 quarterbacks and they also fired their coach before they didn't even make the playoffs. So like they're starting from the ground up with Justin Fields. But he's a young quarterback. He's got that chemistry with Garrett Wilson. They have a new OC. They have a new head coach as well. The OC was the former OC for the Lions, and you see how well the Lions were. Like Jared Goff was not a great quarterback until Tanner Hengerson, I think it's
he was a passing game coordinator. Yeah.
And now Jared Goff, like shutout quarterback for the Lions. So if Tanner can do the same thing that he did with Jared Goff with Justin Fields, I can see them being the start of a great team, but they're not going to make playoffs his first year in. I don't think he's going to be the Messiah for the Jets this season.
I just personally think that like as great of a quarterback as Aaron Rodgers was, he just doesn't fit the current identity of the Jets as an organization. Like they were bringing him in thinking like, oh, he's the next Joe Namath. Like we're going to win. Right. Like, and no, like the Jets in recent years, they've been defensive team. They've been a running team. And then, they can pass a little bit, but that's not been their identity. And I think hiring Aaron Glenn to try to solidify that defense really, I think, is establishing that identity. They tried doing it with Robert Saleh, but he failed. Aaron Glenn, I think, is cut from a different cloth. Plus, he used to be in a New York Jets uniform, as we mentioned. So, there's a little bit more pride going in there to coach the Jets. And then I agree with James. That was a great hire at OC, especially pairing the two Lions back together in the Jets organization. So I mean, the Jets, I do think are going to have a better year, but I don't see them making the playoffs.
Yeah. I see a lot of similarities between the Jets and Washington and the steps that they had to go through to become good again. And, acquisition of a young mobile quarterback that helped Washington, OC that helped Washington, HC helped Washington. So, maybe like the Jets are the Washington of the AFC. Just starting from the ground up. You got to start somewhere.
I don't know if they're gonna go that far.
I don't know if they're gonna go that far, but
2 years. But
you got to start somewhere.
I mean, like I like what they're doing now. I don't think Robert Saleh was a great fit head coaching wise. Just because you were a top coordinator, offense or defense, don't mean you'll be a great head coach. That's
you can say the same thing about. That's
That's the wait and see. That's a wait and see thing. But that's a whole different beast being a head coach. And then I agree, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. It looked good on paper, but it just wasn't meant to be. I like the direction that they're going in right now. What do you have to say to wrap this up?
I don't think that Bob Saleh was the problem, to be honest. Like Aaron kind of made it his own.
Bob.
Yeah. I don't think that it was his. Like he didn't run the team. Like from everything that's come out, like the owner is very, very involved in roster decisions. Aaron was very, very involved in roster decisions. Bringing in Devontae, bringing in Alan Lazard, it's basically the Packers 2.0 on the Jets, and they kind of don't have like a culture. They don't have an identity. They haven't for a long time, since the days of Mark Sanchez. And I think that he's the franchise. Anyways, my point being, they bring in Aaron Rodgers. They expect him to be like the locker room leader because he's accomplished, and to like be the whole culture. Just because he won stuff, now he's going to make them win. I think that Aaron's just not that type of guy. Like I don't see him giving like a motivating locker room speech. I just think that he's going to show up and like he knows that he's like accomplished and elite. So he's like, I just do my thing. You guys do your thing. And like, he's not that type of guy to be like a culture setter. In my opinion, maybe he is. I don't know. But I don't think that when you bring in a whole new, when you bring in like Justin Fields, he's very like show by example type of guy too. And he still is really trying to prove it in this league. Like he did get paid, but he kind of got paid, like, again, not hating. He kind of got paid because this draft class and this free agency class were like the worst in recent memory. Like if he came out in a year where there was multiple big names in the draft, like last year, Jaden Daniels, Caleb, Drake May, Bo Nix, if that was the case, then the Jets probably would have just picked one of those guys and not paid him $40 million. Or if there's a big name free agent quarterbacks, they probably wouldn't have paid Justin Fields $40 million. So he got lucky that this was the year that he became a free agent. But I do think that they are going to have to try to establish some type of culture. And if that doesn't work in 1 year, Woody Johnson just going to fire? Is he just going to fire Aaron Glenn after 1 year?
Well, I mean, Justin Fields was a free agent last year too, right? But I think their culture is smash mouth football.
He was like a free agent last year, and look what happened. He was a backup.
Well, yeah, but in terms of the Jets, like their culture is smash mouth football, and I think Justin Fields will fit that culture a lot better. Plus, with all
the Steelers.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the Jets.
It's hard to do smash mouth football if your running back gets hurt every year too.
That's true, but the Jets have two good running backs.
Yeah, I like
running backs, and I will say, like some of the decisions they made with the coaching changes are very similar to Washington. Washington in 1 year went from 4-13 to 12-5. That's what the Jets do.
NFC championship. So
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, also
it's a promising.
This fan, everybody.
Yeah, to be fair, also, let's be honest. I don't know him personally, but the passing game coordinator is not calling plays. Ben Johnson is the reason the Lions offense was good. And that's why he's the highest paid head coach of all time now. So he may be a good coach as well, positionally. I don't know what a passing game coordinator does. Like that's a weird
coordinates the passing game.
Yeah, but like the offensive coordinator is the one who's calling the passing plays. So like he just designs plays, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like that, maybe he's a good coordinator. I don't know. But it's going to be an adjustment period for him, for Justin, for Aaron Glenn being first-time head coach. Everybody's going to have to adjust. I think they're going to finish last place in the AFC.
Oh, wow. Well, I said they can make the playoffs. Now, there is a strong possibility that they don't make the playoffs because of all the things that you said and all the concerns that you raised, James. But I think the potential is there if everybody maximizes on their talent.
Mm-hmm.
So we just leave it at that. Yeah. Let's go to the mid-level. Let's talk about the New York Yankees. Now, we brought them up plenty of times before. James, we all thought that they were going to march right back to the World Series. They got the team to do it. You got Aaron Judge. That's the reason why I say inside joke. Why they laughing. Don't worry, you'll be fine. But
James loves baseball.
But
eats, breathes, and sleeps.
Yeah, but man, they just going through a rash of injuries. Garrett Cole has to have Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out for the 2025 season. Luis Gill will be out for 3 months at least. Paul Goldschmidt is hurt. We don't know what's going on with Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, it's just. And then I saw something about DJ LeMahieu being hurt too. Like, it is. It's terrible, a terrible time right now for the Yankees. Let me start with you, Teddy, since you are the Yankees fan.
I thought James said he was.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. All right. So I don't know a whole lot about baseball. I did a little bit of research, and I mean, I didn't mean to just steal that from you, Teddy. But
no, you're good. Tommy set you up.
That's the reason that they're laughing at me up here. But to compete with the Red Sox and the Orioles this season, the Yankees are going to have to make some big moves because they are plagued with injuries. And some of these guys are some of their top players. Like I've heard the name Stanton before, so trying to figure out how they're going to replace him.
You think they should make trades? Because this is Yankees talking about. They're always making big moves. They should definitely make trades by the time we reach the trading season, which is like, July.
Mm-hmm. One's opening day is like next week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from what I saw, they need a couple new pitchers. And some of the teams that I saw that they could pick from were the Cardinals. I know that they got a couple of good starting pitchers. But it's not. Is that a sore
St.
subject?
Louis Cardinals.
That's sore subject.
Yeah.
I mean,
good Lord.
How would you feel about seeing them in some of your favorite Cardinals players in a?
But they all leaving anyway. You might as well go ahead. Let's start.
I mean, pinstripes look good on anybody.
Yankees got Paul Goldschmidt. We had Paul Goldschmidt. So,
and as we discussed, they lax the mustache rule.
So, oh yeah, they can grow beards now and keep them, as long as they neatly trim. Yeah, the Yankees.
That's new. I did not know.
Hey, beards are powerful.
I'm telling you. I agree. Yeah, they need to bring that into the military, but like I don't like the clean shaven look, and like does not take away from your professionalism if you have facial hair.
It does not. Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised that the Yankees, that has been a rule for like since the beginning, right? Where you have to be clean shaven.
It's been like over 40 years.
Yeah, that is insane.
A long time. Over 40. Well, Teddy, go ahead and talk about your Yankees.
Yeah.
Do you still see them as World Series contenders with all these injuries going on to like their top players?
Honestly, no. I mean, when you have Garrett Cole as No, I'm serious. Like, could they make the playoffs? Yeah, I don't see them making a World Series run. I mean, unless Will Warren, who's this new prospect, he's playing pretty well in spring training. Unless he becomes the new Garrett Cole, like, then maybe. But Garrett Cole's a huge loss. I mean, they missed him a lot last year. And I argue that the reason why the Yankees didn't do better in the World Series is because they didn't have him going, Garrett Cole, that is, to be your ace and really put away those big bats on the Dodgers. You're going to need a guy like that in the postseason, especially in the World Series. And honestly, it's probably going to be the Dodgers again in the World Series who still have those big bats. So I personally don't think so. When we talk about Giancarlo Stanton, constantly injured, he has like a few injuries, something I think with his leg. I forget exactly what it is, but he also has tennis elbow in both arms. That is a big deal, especially because he's a power hitter. Like the dude either strikes out or hits a home run. And plus, the reports are coming out that he may end up getting surgery and miss the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking like they'll be without Stanton the whole way. Goldschmidt is a little less of a concern. Apparently, he's going to be back maybe by the end of this weekend, but he's older, so injuries could be a concern for him going forward. And then DJ LeMahieu, he's out right now, and they have no clear timetable for his return with the left calf strain. He did resume baseball activities, but it could be like a month before he comes back. So they're going to need guys like Oswaldo Cabrera, who's replacing LeMahieu, and Ben Rice step up. And I mean, I guess they're doing okay in spring training. Like Oswaldo, he's batting .310 right now from the plate. And then Ben Rice has 5 home runs in spring training. Like, they're doing okay.
Yeah.
But they're going to need those performances to continue if they have any shot Otherwise, I agree with James. They might have to go make some moves.
Yeah, do you think they could be a World Series contender with all these injuries?
Yeah, I mean, they're a contender if they have the roster that they have, obviously minus Garrett Cole and maybe Stan. I don't know the injury as well for Stan. I don't think it's known by anybody, maybe inside the organization. They don't want to say it, but I think that they're the Yankees. They're going to make moves if they're like not at contention.
Mm-hmm.
So because they have the guys they have on that roster, they're in contention in some way.
Mm.
There are going to be teams who are like on the playoff bubble who probably aren't going to make it, that have veteran pitchers that they just give to the Yankees because they get money in draft picks. So like that's just an inevitability of baseball, unfortunately. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Pittsburgh Pirates trade the best pitching prospect of all time, Paul Skeens, to the Yankees just because they don't want to be good. Like Bob Nutting is
really passionate about that.
Yeah.
Mr. Nutting, the Pirates owner, just likes to have a baseball team, doesn't want to spend money and pay players to be good. So we just trade prospects when they become up for a big contract, and then we start over again in the farm system. So he would fit on great in the Yankees, but they're going to make moves.
Keep his beard and his mustache.
Yeah, true. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're going to make moves for veteran pitchers at the deadline and maybe even before the deadline.
So are you saying that they're going to be fine because they're the Yankees and their brand is going to attract players that are on the fringe?
More than that, also, they just have unlimited money. So like they can trade future draft picks for veteran pitchers who are on teams who aren't going to make playoffs that don't necessarily need their services anymore. And like they still have a good team around that. So their only real issue right now is pitching. So like still have Max Fried, they still have a couple other guys. Like if they can just add a couple veteran pitchers and make it like more of like a rotational group and not like have an ace per se, they'll make it. Like, and once you get in the playoffs, who knows what can happen?
I think the only way the Yankees can go to the World Series at this point is the players that they got healthy now uplift this team until some of those players trickle back in little by little. I mean, they still got great, like Max Fried. You still got Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm. You got an array of players that you can lean on. Cody Bellinger, who can bat well at times, even though he's been declined as far as batting average.
And they got Luke Weaver, right? Am I saying it right?
They have him.
He's their new reliever.
So like they still got players, and they're the Yankees.
Yeah,
they're going to find somebody. Like there's stories going around about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He didn't sign an extension with the Blue Jays. He could be on the move if the Blue Jays find themselves down in the dumps by the time we hit the trade deadline. So I think the Yankees will be fine as far as making the playoffs. I think they're going to make the playoffs for sure. But World Series, it's just so many injuries. Just way too many. And even if Giancarlo Stanton come back, I don't know if he's going to stay. I mean, I don't know if people think about this, but the guy came in the league in 2010. He had 429 career home runs. So he's on the downswing anyway.
Yeah.
And with the injuries, I just don't know how effective he'll be. But I think the saving grace is they still got players.
Yeah.
And hopefully Giancarlo Stanton, they could get him healthy by the time they reach the postseason, because I think he was their best postseason bat last year in 2024.
Oh, yeah. When you need a big at-bat, Giancarlo Stanton will deliver. And it pains my heart as not only a Yankees fan, but a Giancarlo Stanton fan to see him hurt. I mean, even before he put on the pinstripes, I was a big fan of his. He won me my fantasy baseball league one year. But anyway.
Fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I was about to ask
that's crazy.
That is.
Oh, it was a lot of work. That's why
too much work.
Too much work.
Insane.
It was a lot. But I had him on my team. Jose Bautista. I think I had McCutcheon when he was good. Anyway,
McCutcheon.
Yeah. But anyway,
went to the Yankees and then came back to the Pirates.
Yeah, and he's gonna come back to the Yankees too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But no, just really. but no, seriously though, like I do agree with you guys. Like the Yankees are the Yankees. They didn't bring back Juan Soto and have to pay him all that money, so they got a lot of money to spend, and they do want to make a splash. So who knows? Yeah, maybe Vlad Guerrero Jr. would be a good person to get, but they have money to spend on pitching too. Like this Yankees team, they're gonna want to be successful. And plus, we've talked a little bit about it before too. Aaron Boone could be on the chopping block. Like he has the expectation to, like
it's not his fault these guys got hurt.
No, I know.
It's the Yankees.
They got to the
It's
World
the
Series
Yankees.
last year, and then his like two best players get hurt, and now he's going to get fired. Like, how does that make sense?
It's
No,
not
it's the
fair.
Yankees.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the whole
the Yankees,
point.
though.
The Yankees want to have a good coach.
No, they do. But the thing is like he was on the chopping block last year, and getting to the World Series saved his job. But a lot of people argued that they should have won that World Series. Like their roster was good enough to get it. Of course, you're facing a phenom of a player in Shohei Ohtani, who's now pitching again this year, I believe.
And one hell of a roster in the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Period.
So, like, I mean, that's tough, right? That's kind of like to make a quick comparison, it's kind of like you got the Buffalo Bills who have to constantly go up against like a Pat Mahomes type team and the Chiefs who are just like a dynasty. But anyways, the Yankees, they are going to need to rely on those younger guys if they don't make moves, but they're probably going to make some.
Let's go to the last level. Let's talk about the New York Liberty for the first time on this show. The WNBA season
Is that true?
Coming. Yeah.
We've never talked
about them on the show before.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
But there's a reason why we're talking about them now with the WNBA season coming around the corner, with March Madness going on. They brought in veteran guard Natasha Cloud in a trade. They still got all their players. I just saw that they re-signed Marina Johannes. So they got everybody back except for Courtney Vandersloot, who went back to the Chicago Sky.
It's an underrated loss. People aren't talking about it.
It's not that real big of a
She brought grit to that locker room.
It's not that real.
Had a very important game. I don't know if it was game 3 or game 4 in the finals last year. That she had like 16 points. And she just was the heartbeat of that locker room.
Okay. But
and I don't think people
they got Natasha Cloud now, who got grit herself and is a WNBA champion with the Washington Mystic. With Natasha Cloud, with Bijane Hamilton still on this team. Of course, Breanna Stewart, shout out Breanna Stewart, Syracuse native. Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, former MVP. Are they the favorite going into 2025 to repeat as champions?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. They already were before this move, and this just adds to it. Shout out to the Connecticut Sun for just like deciding that they're going to not have a team anymore and trading away all their good players. It's actually crazy. They were good last year. I don't know why they did all this, but it's probably because the new contracts, everything next year. That's probably the likely reason. But like we talked about, they already had a big 3. Now this is kind of like we were talking about this before the show, kind of similar to like a big 4 Warriors when Draymond was like the 4th of the big 4. Natasha Cloud is a great NBA player, like you mentioned. She is a former champion, and everybody on this team now, except for the people who are new, are former champions as well. So they have that championship pedigree. And I think that this team, obviously led by Stewie and Ionescu and Jonquel Jones, now getting another veteran leader in the locker room, like who's to say that they are going to be able to not win the championship again? It does hurt me to say that, though. As you know, I'm an Aces fan. Yeah. And they got some new pieces as well. They retooled.
Jewel Lloyd.
Jewel Lloyd, obviously.
They lost Kelsey Plum.
They lost Kelsey Plum, but she didn't want to be there anymore. So if you don't want to be here, we want volunteers, not hostages.
Wow. Tommy is on fire today.
Tomlin said that. So I counted that.
Okay.
But
who did that?
Tomlin. That's when Le'Veon Bell was like doing his whole contract thing. Anyways, I think the Liberty and the Aces are going to be the 2 best teams in the league again next year. And hopefully the Aces win from my perspective as a fan of the team. But if I had to have a gun to my head situation, I would pick the Liberty.
But let me ask you, Natasha Cloud, she's going to be paired with Sabrina Ionescu, who was the point guard of the team, dual threat, can score, can give you assists. How do you think that's going to work for Sabrina's game, knowing that more than likely they're going to share the same backcourt?
Yeah. Now, before I start, I will say of all the sports that we're talking about today, WNBA is my least, the one I know least about. So I had to do some research here. I was same boat as you, but at least with baseball. So, anyways, but to move back to this, to answer your question, Stacey, I think it does take a lot of pressure off of Ionescu to be the point guard. I mean, she was more of like a combo guard last year in her play, averaging 18.5 points and almost 7 assists a game. And I mean, it worked, right? They won the championship, but Natasha Cloud is a true point guard, like a true one for this team. And Ionescu is a pure scorer. So like this allows her to play more free in her game as a shooting guard. That doesn't mean she can't facilitate and make big plays, but it takes less pressure off her to be that won. So I think it's going to really help the Liberty. I think Natasha Cloud will be a great complementary player to Sabrina. And I mean, again, they're starting 5. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the other teams in the WNBA, but Natasha Cloud, Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, Nija Hamilton, Brianna Stewart, they all score in double digits. That's an elite starting 5 to me. I don't see why they wouldn't run this back. And again, just adding another veteran with championship experience into the locker room. The sky is literally the limit for them.
What you think?
I mean, I think we've pretty much covered all the bases with how great this is. I think the Liberty really got away with a good, steal basically with a championship player. It's just another piece of that puzzle that like they really didn't need, but it's not going to hurt them by any means. Like they're probably going to go back to back. Like I can see them three-peating easily with this team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely see them back to back right now. This is just the rich get richer. We all know that saying before, and that's what's happening with the New York Liberty. But I am still interested to see how that's going to work with Sabrina Ionescu. Does she scale back on being a point guard and hit that 20-point echelon? She has not averaged 20 points in her career yet. She's been close a couple times.
Yeah.
I think she's a career 17 points per game, but
she's always played with really good players around her, which kind of makes it harder to, score a lot of points. But share.
I do want to factor in the age of Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart. They're in their 30 years now. So, like, does Sabrina become now that leading scorer for this team going forward?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think she's probably going to be their number one option. I think that they have to share the ball even more now because they have Natasha Cloud. So, like, I don't think it really matters to them who scores the most points or am I scoring 20 points a game. It matters, are we going to win the championship again? Because they're, like, on the peak of being, like, dynasty mode. If they can continue to do this run. I don't think the Aces are going to have, nothing to say about that as well. Like, they're also were, almost in that dynasty mode as well. But I do have a question, though. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Liberty and the Aces?
I was just about to ask.
That aren't those two teams.
I might go out on a limb here. I want to say if the Sparks and the Fever
that's where I was going.
Bring it all together this season, I think they're going to be threats.
Sparks are scary.
And they just got Kelsey Plum.
Yeah, well, and Cameron Brink essentially missed the whole season last year, only played a few games.
And she come back healthy. She's a defense. Because then the Fever, they brought in Natasha Howard. They brought in DeWanna Bonner, who's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
They brought in Sydney Colston from the Aces. She's a staple on the bench. Like
another year of Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah.
You got Kelsey. You got Kelsey Mitchell, who's one of the most underrated players in the W. Yeah, I got those two teams.
I like that.
And then who's a part of this draft class or this upcoming?
Paige Buckers.
The Paige Beckers.
Yeah, Paige Beckers.
Olivia Miles is part of this. So
Juju Watkins is going to be a scary player though in the WNBA.
I didn't even fill out a women's bracket because USC is winning that championship. Like there's no.
They're not winning championship.
What do you mean?
UConn.
I have USC.
Well, that's your opinion.
Why are you so angry?
I'm not angry.
What's going on?
There was no hate in that at all.
No, there's no hate.
I felt a little.
Unfortunately,
I felt a little rage.
The way that the bracket is set up in the women's side, USC and UConn are in the same.
Yeah,
corner.
Unfortunately.
So they'll have to play each other in an Elite Eight, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think it's going to be like a fairy tale ending to Paige Becker's career, and they cut down the net. But I also agree that USC is a very good ball club, and they'll probably win it next year. So, I mean, USC.
Or they win it this year.
The other USC, South Carolina, is always going to have something to say about that as well.
Always true.
Yeah, that's true.
Always.
Oh yeah, they're dominant. So with the Liberty, now correct me if I'm wrong. This was their first ever championship.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, when you win one, you get a taste of it, and you have a roster like they have now. They're hungry to win a second one. I don't think they let up off the gas pedal at all, especially when you have a generational talent like Sabrina Ionescu. Before Caitlin Clark came into the league, a lot of people looked at her to be like the next Steph Curry, basically, right?
For sure.
So I think clear-cut favorites for them to win.
Well, we'll continue to follow the New York Liberty. I think they're going to be the prohibitive favorites coming up in the WNBA season 2025. But that was the end of the Empire State Sports Show. Thank you, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
For the celebration. Actually, this was episode 10.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Episode 10, reaching the milestone. We also had the introduction of James Bear on here. James, great job.
The MLB expert.
There we go.
Glad to be some more New York natives.
To wrap up the show, Tommy, what do they got to do? What's 2 things that the people got to do?
Like and subscribe.
There we go. Yes, there we go.